Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Today, we are tackling one of those huge ancient mysteries, animal consciousness.
Right.
But we're not looking at this from, a typical behavioral science angle.
No, not at all. Our source material today is, well, it's pretty unconventional.
Highly unconventional. We're working from transcripts of a hypnotic investigation that was trying to map the metaphysical side of non-human life.
Things like, do they have souls? Do they carry karma? And what about these collective minds?
Exactly. And that's where our mission today gets a little complicated.
It does, because we aren't just exploring these really extraordinary claims. We're also diving into a critical analysis of the very method used to get them.
So we're kind of holding two opposing ideas at once.
We are. On one hand, you have the fascinating detail of the discovery, and on the other, you have this really rigorous standard for methodological certainty.
The profound versus the probable. I like it. So let's start at the most basic level. Individual consciousness. The hypnotic deep dive suggests a definite yes, that it exists in some animals, but it's described as incredibly rudimentary.
Yeah, primitive spark is the term that keeps coming up. I mean, if you compare it to a human's subliminal part, which is like this complex hard drive, right?
Storing memories, behaviors, everything.
Exactly. A human's is like a sphere with hundreds of organizational drawers. The animal version, though, is described as being very small, very weak.
So just a few drawers.
2 or 3, maybe. It's, a basic behavioral operating system, nothing more.
And according to the investigation, this spark isn't even universal.
No, it's primarily seen in felines. So panthers, tigers, lions, even down to house cats, and then some of the large mammals like elephants.
And that selectivity, it must point to how it develops, right?
It does. This primitive consciousness is directly tied to what the sources are calling the emotional body.
And what does that look like?
It's visualized as a small bead, or a seed, they say, that is germinating right in the center of the animal's chest. It's really just this nascent awareness.
So the line between animals that have this germinating seed and those that don't seems to be about how they reproduce.
It comes down to live birth mammals versus egg layers. That's the crucial distinction.
Okay, explain that.
The sources suggest that for animals giving live birth, the development of this emotional body is linked to the complex, sustained act of caring for and protecting their offspring.
So the emotional investment from the mother or father.
That's what fuels the spark. Yeah.
But what about creatures that lay eggs? I mean, a chicken or a big bird, they look like they're deeply invested. They feed, they heat the nest, they defend it.
To us, it looks that way. But the information suggests the energetic mechanism is totally different. For the egg layers, all that necessary information, how to migrate, how to protect the nest, it's already coded.
So it's a reflex.
It's described as mechanical or programmed. They perform these complex caring behaviors because the program is just running automatically.
Not because of a conscious emotional choice about the outcome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not like what's described in the live birth mammals.
That makes a kind of functional sense then. One system runs on instinctual programming, the other starts to run on emergent emotional feedback.
Right.
Which leads us to the bigger picture. If individual consciousness is so small, where does the rest of the animal's intelligence, reside?
That would be in the animal egregore.
The collective consciousness.
Yes. It's described as a vast cloud or smoke, sometimes just called the greater.
And how does that work? I mean, we know that the human collective is this huge, messy thing, right? Filled with beliefs, ideas, history.
The animal collective is much, much simpler. It's basically an energetic library for the fundamental characteristics of the species.
Like instincts, aggression level.
Instinctual patterns, speed, size, aggression, all that stuff. It doesn't hold complex ideas or moral frameworks like the human one does.
And it holds these two powerful and kind of contradictory emotional streams.
It does. On one side, you have harmony, love, care, think of elephants. And on the other, you have this raw current of animal rage, fury, pure survival instinct.
The distilled essence of the wild.
That's a good way to put it. And knowing this is important when we get to their metaphysical status, because according to these sessions, animals do not carry karmic baggage.
At all.
Not from life to life. Their system just isn't built to process it.
So if a person creates karma with their pet, the human is the one responsible for it.
That's right. The karmic debt stays with the human owner. Now, animals do reincarnate, but it's more of a natural or programmed cycle. They don't have that conscious choice humans do. It's more systemic.
And some animals just leave the whole system.
That's one of the stranger findings.
Yeah.
Sources suggest some species, like bats, might just live here once. They fulfill some kind of physical purpose.
And then they're out.
They leave Earth's matrix and continue their evolution somewhere else. Their energy might show up as something minuscule in another system, like a particle of light or gas. It's a very fluid, multidimensional view of things.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. But let's bring it back to the animals that do stay close to us. Our pets.
The sources flag a major vulnerability there.
In those close bonds.
Yes, a vulnerability to energetic interference. Animals, especially ones with really strong emotional ties to their owners, they lack a key layer of energetic defense.
Which makes them conduits.
Conduits for external entities or extraterrestrials trying to get access to the human owner.
But why are they so open to that? You'd think developing that emotional body would create some kind of protection.
That's a great question, but no. The protection is missing because they lack what's called the closed sphere.
Okay.
A human develops this energetic boundary through the balanced and integrated development of three things: the emotional body, the mental body, and the sexual body.
And what about those last two in animals?
Well, in most animals, the mental and sexual bodies are almost purely focused on survival and reproduction.
It's just the basic programming.
Right. They haven't developed the complex, self-aware processing of the mental body or the, higher creative functions of the sexual body that humans have. Because that development is unbalanced, the closed sphere, that energy barrier, is incomplete. It leaves them wide open.
And entities take advantage of that opening, not just for access, but for consumption. It's described as energy theft.
It is. The entities consume the animal's raw, vital energy, their life force. But what they're really interested in is the refined, multicolored emotional energy that the pet gets from its human.
The rose, green, blue energy.
Exactly. The entity basically uses the pet as a filter to siphon off high-quality human energy.
Speaking of high-quality emotional energy, the deep dive mentions elephants and grief.
Yes, and that detail really reinforces that whole emotional body idea. Elephants are highly social. They embody the harmony and care stream we talked about.
And they show collective grief.
They do. When a member dies, they connect through their group, the egregor. But more aggressive animals, like lions, they don't show that collective emotional link. Their response to death is much more individualistic.
Okay, so let's follow this evolutionary path. The source suggests that this deep interaction with humans can actually build a bridge to human incarnation.
It's a huge claim. The idea is that constant, close contact, like being a beloved pet, causes the animal's emotional body to expand dramatically.
And that expansion is the trigger.
It's the catalyst, yes.
Yeah.
An animal with a really expanded emotional body, say a dog or cat that's been a companion for a long time, might reincarnate in its next life as a human.
So it's a direct evolutionary track driven by love, essentially.
Our relational dynamics, yeah. But the adaptation isn't smooth. The sources describe a kind of systemic shock.
A shock? How so?
The claim is that the first human life for that soul might be sick, maybe requiring a wheelchair or having other systemic problems because the animal consciousness just isn't fully equipped yet to run the complex operating system of a human body.
That's a profound idea. It's not about moral worth. It's about a biological adjustment period for consciousness itself.
That's a very mechanistic view, yeah.
And how long does this adaptation take?
The estimate is pretty specific. It takes about 3 human lives for the animal's adapted bodies, the mental, emotional, and sexual, to become fully equilibrated to the human form.
3 full lifetimes.
Only then can the soul really integrate and have a balanced human experience.
So, we have just gone through some incredibly detailed, very specific metaphysical mechanics.
We have.
The 3 life cycle, the energetic difference between tigers and chickens, entities stealing energy, bats leaving the matrix. I mean, it's all from a single hypnotic investigation.
And this is the pivot. This is where we have to step back and apply the rigor that our other source material demands.
You have to talk about the reliability warning.
We do. Because the critical analysis of this method states that information from a single session is highly vulnerable to contamination or distortion.
Why is it so easily distorted?
Think about it. The information has to travel across multiple dimensions, through different consciousness filters, different energy densities. The analogy they use is like trying to talk to someone underwater.
While you're both speaking different languages.
Exactly. The original signal gets completely warped by the medium and by the receiver's own filters.
Yeah.
Their culture, their beliefs, their mental framework.
Which leads to this rule of the collective, or what they call the 2 to 3% principle.
And this is the ultimate methodological gut punch. For any of this information, like the 3 life cycle, or the structure of the egregore, to be considered reliable, to be fact-based and not just a story.
It has to be corroborated.
Across thousands of separate hypnotic sessions,
Yeah.
done by different operators with different subjects. Thousands.
And even after all that, the certainty rate is, well, it's shockingly low.
That's the staggering part. The sources suggest that even after that massive validation process, the amount of information you can call reliable might only be 2 or 3% of everything you gathered.
So basically all the rest.
All the other rich narrative detail from a single session is, methodologically speaking, unreliable. It's effectively trash information.
So for you, listening to this, you've just been given all these deeply specific claims, from the makeup of an animal's soul to the exact timeline for becoming human.
But the methodology itself forces us to treat every one of those specific details with profound skepticism until it passes that thousands of sessions test.
The real takeaway today isn't just about what we learned about a dog's soul.
No, the real nugget of knowledge is the insight into just how difficult it is to confirm metaphysical truth, high-level information, even when it's delivered with incredible detail.
It demands immense scrutiny and corroboration before it can graduate from, a fascinating narrative to a reliable fact.
We've been given this complex, beautiful map of the metaphysical animal kingdom, but it comes with a huge, flashing red flag about its immediate validity.
Which raises an important question for you to consider.
If only 2 to 3% of this kind of high-level information is truly verifiable across thousands of sources, what subtle, non-corroborated belief, either about your own self-worth, your life's path, or the nature of reality, might you be operating on right now that is based purely on contaminated or biased information, something for you to mull or explore on your own?